Welcome, friends. This is one of the most heart-touching stories you will ever watch, so please don't skip. Watch till the end, because it will truly touch your heart. And yes, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Soul of Kindness for more emotional stories like this. The graduation ceremony was filled with laughter, flashing cameras and proud families, but in one quiet corner, a girl sat on the ground, her eyes shining with unshed tears. Her name was Lena, a hard-working student who had come this far with nothing but determination. Her shoes were torn apart, the only pair she owned. The crowd moved past her, ignoring the girl in the graduation gown, sitting barefoot on the pavement. And then a shadow fell beside her. A man in an elegant grey suit knelt down. His voice was calm, gentle. "Why are you sitting here, miss?" he asked softly. Lena looked up, embarrassed, her voice trembling. "My shoes. They broke just before the ceremony. I can't walk on stage like this." There was silence for a moment, and then with a warm smile, the man began untying his polished shoes. "You can borrow mine," he said quietly. "Today is your day." Lena's eyes widened, tears spilling over. She didn't know that the man offering his shoes was the CEO of the very company that sponsored her scholarship. To be continued. Friends, this story will melt your heart, so stay till the end. It's not just about shoes. It's about kindness that changes lives. Our channel, Soul of Kindness. You like, comment, share, and subscribe for more stories that touch the soul. Lena stood in the middle of the campus courtyard, her bare feet slipping into the CEO's expensive leather shoes. They were far too big, but the warmth inside them made her feel safe, like hope had finally found her. The sun was bright, the crowd buzzing with excitement, yet she felt as if the world had gone quiet around her. Every step she took toward the stage was heavy with memories. Nights spent studying under dim light, skipping meals to afford books, and the silent tears she hid from her classmates, who never knew what it meant to struggle. The sound of her name being called broke through her thoughts. Lena Hayes, recipient of the CEO's special scholarship. She froze mid-step, her heart stopping for a moment. "CEO's scholarship?" She turned her head, and there he was, the same man whose shoes she wore, standing by the car, smiling softly as if he had known her story all along. As she reached the stage, she looked out into the sea of faces, some clapping, some whispering, and she realized that for once, she didn't care about the judgment. She had made it. Against all odds, she had made it. When the ceremony ended, she went searching for him, her cap in one hand, her diploma clutched tightly in the other, tears streaming down her face. She found him near his car, waiting as if he knew she'd come. "Sir, I don't even know your name," she said softly. "You don't know what you've done for me today." He looked at her gently, his eyes reflecting years of struggle and pain hidden behind success. "You don't need to know my name," he said. "Just promise me one thing. When you see someone struggling, do for them what I did for you today." Lena's voice broke. "I will. I swear I will." The man smiled faintly and turned to leave, but then paused. "You remind me of someone," he said. "My mother. She walked barefoot to her graduation too. She never gave up, and she raised me to never forget where I came from." He got into his car, the engine humming softly, and drove away, leaving behind nothing but the memory of his kindness and a pair of shoes that would forever remind Lena that sometimes the richest hearts wear the simplest souls. Lena fell to her knees, clutching the shoes and whispering, "Thank you, whoever you are." Friends, if this moment touched your heart, don't go anywhere. The story isn't over yet. Watch till the end, because what happens next will leave you speechless. Weeks passed after graduation. Lena had started a small internship at a company downtown, the very place whose scholarship had carried her through college. Every morning she arrived early, humble and hopeful, never imagining the man who had lent her his shoes that day was the one who owned the entire building she now worked in. One rainy afternoon, the CEO was scheduled to visit the office. The halls buzzed with whispers, everyone straightening their ties, polishing their desks, waiting for the man who rarely appeared in public. Lena was in the lobby holding a stack of files when the elevator doors opened. And there he was, the same grey suit, the same calm eyes, the same kind smile. Her breath caught. The files fell from her hands, scattering across the marble floor. He stopped, looked at her, and for a moment the noise of the world disappeared. "You," she whispered, her voice trembling. "You're the CEO?" He smiled softly. "I told you, names don't matter. But why didn't you tell me?" she asked, tears welling in her eyes. "I would have thanked you properly, sir." He bent down, helping her pick up the papers one by one. "Because kindness isn't done for thanks," he said gently. "It's done because someone once helped me when I had nothing." As they stood together, a memory flickered in his eyes, a younger version of himself, barefoot and broken, receiving his first pair of shoes from a stranger on a cold graduation night. He looked at Lena and said, "When I saw you sitting there barefoot, I saw myself all over again." Tears streamed down Lena's cheeks. "You changed my life," she whispered. He smiled faintly. "No, Lena, you changed your own life. I just reminded you that you're not alone." The rain outside grew heavier, tapping softly on the glass walls like a quiet applause from heaven. Lena's heart overflowed. In that moment, she realized that kindness is like rain. It falls silently, but it makes everything grow. As he turned to leave for his meeting, he stopped and looked back one last time. "Oh, and Lena," he said, his tone warm and proud, "keep the shoes. They look better on someone who's walked a hard road." Her tears turned into a trembling smile. She clutched her chest, whispering through the sobs, "I'll never forget you, sir, never." He nodded gently and walked away, his reflection fading into the golden light of the office, leaving behind a heart forever changed. And friends, if this part touched your heart, then please stay till the end. The next scene will break you and heal you at the same time. Kindness never fades. It travels from one soul to another. Years passed. Lena had grown from a scared, barefoot graduate to a confident young woman, who now worked as a project manager in the same company. Her life had changed, but she never forgot him, the man who gave her his shoes and a new beginning. Every morning she glanced at those old brown leather shoes kept in a glass case on her desk, cleaned, polished, and cherished. To her, they weren't just shoes. They were hope. But one day, news spread through the office like wildfire. The CEO, Mr. Adrian Cole, had been hospitalized after a heart stroke. Lena's heart sank. She dropped everything and ran through the rain to the hospital, her tears mixing with the storm outside. When she entered the room, she saw him lying there, weak, pale, but still wearing that same gentle smile. He looked at her and whispered, "You shouldn't have come in the rain." She shook her head, holding his hand tightly. "You gave me your shoes when I had nothing. How could I not come when you need someone to stand by you?" Tears filled his tired eyes. "I always knew," he said softly, "that you'd become someone who spreads light, even in storms." She took something out of her bag, a small box carefully wrapped in blue paper. "I've been saving for this day," she said through trembling lips. She opened it, and inside lay a brand new pair of shoes, identical to the ones he gave her years ago. "These are for you, sir," she whispered, "so that when you walk again, you'll remember the girl who walked because of you." For a moment, silence filled the room. Then tears rolled down his cheeks, not from pain, but from pride. He held her hand and whispered weakly, "You kept your promise. You became kindness itself." Lena couldn't hold back her sobs. "Because you taught me what kindness means." His breathing grew slow. He smiled faintly and murmured, "If I don't wake up again, don't cry, Lena. Just promise me. Keep helping those who can't afford shoes or hope." Her heart broke. "Don't say that, sir, please." "You'll be fine," she cried, clutching his hand. But he simply smiled again, a peaceful smile that said everything words couldn't. Outside, the rain stopped. A soft ray of sunlight touched his face, as if the sky itself was saying goodbye. Lena bent down, pressed his hand to her forehead and whispered through her tears, "I promise, sir. I'll keep walking the path you showed me." Weeks later, Lena started a foundation, the Step of Kindness project, giving shoes to poor students across the country, each pair carrying a small note that read, "One act of kindness can change a life." And on the opening day of the foundation, Lena stood on stage wearing those same old shoes, the ones he had given her, and looked up at the sky with tears in her eyes. "Thank you, sir," she whispered. "You're still walking with me." The audience stood in silence, many wiping their tears. Friends, this story is not just about shoes, it's about footsteps that never fad. Welcome, dear friends. This is the final part of one of the most heart-touching stories ever told. Please don't skip. Watch till the very end, because this moment will stay with you forever. And yes, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Soul of Kindness, the home of stories that touch hearts and remind us that goodness never dies. 10 years had passed since Lena started the Step of Kindness Foundation. Thousands of children now walk to school wearing shoes gifted through her mission. The walls of her office were covered with photos, smiling faces, worn shoes, dusty roads, and hearts full of hope. But one photo always stayed at the center. Black and white picture of Mr. Adrian Cole, the man whose kindness changed her life forever. Under it were the words he once said to her: "Kindness isn't done for thanks. It's done to remind others they're not alone." One evening, as the sun set behind the city skyline, a young boy entered her office, barefoot, nervous, clutching an old envelope. Lena smiled softly, her heart melting at the sight. "Hey there," she said gently. "Why aren't you wearing shoes, sweetheart?" He looked down shyly. "They broke, ma'am. I'll buy new ones when I can." Her eyes filled instantly. She knelt before him, her hands trembling as she opened a cabinet and pulled out a small box. Inside was a new pair of shoes, simple, clean, and shining. "Here," she whispered, helping him wear them. "Now you'll never have to walk barefoot again." The boy's face lit up with pure joy. "Thank you, ma'am. I'll never forget this." Lena smiled through her tears. "Promise me one thing," she said softly, echoing the same words she once heard long ago. "When you see someone who needs help, you'll do the same for them one day." The boy nodded earnestly. "I promise." He turned to leave, but before stepping out, he stopped and handed her the envelope. "My mom said to give this to you." Lena opened it slowly and froze. Inside was an old photograph of a man holding a little boy, and written on the back in fading ink, "For Lena, from Adrian Cole's son." Tears poured down her face as the truth hit her. The boy, standing before her, was his son. She covered her mouth, unable to speak. The boy looked at her innocently. "My dad told me stories about a kind lady who wore his shoes. He said she taught him that love doesn't end when someone leaves. It continues when we keep being kind." Lena looked toward the sky, her voice trembling with gratitude. "Sir, your footsteps didn't fade," she whispered. "They became the road that guides us all." Friends, this is where the story ends, but the message never does. Kindness is not just an action, it's a legacy. It travels from heart to heart, from life to life, forever. Our channel, Soul of Kindness. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, because kindness deserves to live forever, in every heart that still believes in love.